goofy, dopey, happy. Oh, the 7 streams of income, not the 7 dwarfs. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income, and each one of these streams play an important role in building your wealth. Some of these are meant to grow your money, some of these are meant for preserving your money and keeping it safe from inflation and not losing too much money while it sits in the bank, and some might just be a good way to diversify where your income comes from. So the first type of income that most millionaires have, and mostly all of us watching this have, is earned income. There's different ways that you can get earned income, but for the most part it's having a salary or a job that pays hourly or a commission. To summarize earned income, it's when you're trading your time for your money, or you're putting in your efforts towards something and earning that money. So this could be paid through your salary, this could be paid through commission if you're a salesman, this could be paid hourly if you're a part-time worker, or even like freelancing where you're doing something based off of your skills that earns you money through time. Now see, earned income has both pros and cons, but one of the most obvious cons that I already mentioned is that you're trading your time for money. So basically you're limited on how much money you can earn because you only have so much time in a day. Of course you can always get a higher paying job to increase your money, but there's always going to be a cap on how much hours in a day you can work unless you work yourself to death, but in the end there's only 24 hours in a day. Most of us work 8-hour work days, and at the end of the week we know we're going to put in 40 hours of work at least, sometimes overtime, and we're going to receive X amount of money or whatever your salary is. Another disadvantage with earned income is it's usually one of the more higher taxed income brackets, and the earned income bracket could be taxed as high as 37%, and that's only for federal taxes. That doesn't include your state taxes, your social security, your Medicare, your benefits, and all of that other stuff. And California has one of the highest state income taxes. You can get taxed an additional 1 to 13% depending on how much you make. If you fall within the 37% federal tax bracket, you're going to be getting taxed at least 11-12%. So if you're one of the high earners in California, your taxes will likely be close to 50%. So imagine half of your money gone when you're earning it just because of the way it's taxed. I know, I sound like I can't say anything good about earned income, but there are some pros when it comes to it. One of the biggest pros with earned income is a lot of people value security and knowing what's coming. With earned income, like I said earlier, when you put in your work, you know how much you're going to get paid at the end of the week. Unless you're a salesman whose pay is usually variable. Earned income is predictable to an extent because, you know, like we've been seeing these last couple of years, a lot of people get laid off when market gets tough and people are losing their jobs. The second stream of income that millionaires have is passive income. And this is a buzzword that you hear all over the internet. Find passive ways to make money. I want to retire and become financially free. But anyways, it's not all a myth. The easiest way to describe passive income is think of earned income where you're using your time to make money, and then go to the whole other side of the spectrum. It's basically the opposite of earned income. It's really when you're making money where you're really not putting in work, or you already put in the work and things are paying residuals. Now some things are more passive than other ways of income like stocks, royalties, dividends, and so on, because you don't really have to put in the work to get stocks. You just put in your money somewhere and you let that grow, and that grows passively. The good thing about passive income is you don't really have to be involved too much. Unlike a job where you're trading time for money, the goal of passive income is to set something up like a foundation of some sort and then have that earn you money. One good example is creating an online course. A lot of people create online courses where they list it somewhere and then people will buy it and they'll get money without even having to teach anything because they already pre-recorded, they already pre-built the modules and everything like that. But like I said, it's not completely passive because they did have to do some foundation work building everything out. Listen, I want to take a second to pause right there because the majority of you guys are not subscribed. So take a second, scroll down, hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, you might as well hit that like button. It'll really help out the channel. Thanks, bye. Stocks and even index funds are probably one of the truly passive forms of income that I can think about. All you need to do is go into an app, buy some type of S&P index fund every month, have that grow, and you don't even need to check your account. And then in 20-30 years, you check that account and you have millions of dollars. You can even automate it. You don't even need to go into the app. So if you're looking for a very passive way, you can look into stocks, you can look into index funds, or even some things that pay off dividends. One of the greatest things about passive income is it really doesn't tie you down to a specific location or specific time. You don't need to be at a job at a desk for 40 hours a week in order to earn money with passive income. You can control your time, you can control your location, and eventually when your passive income surpasses your expenses or how much money you need every month, congrats, you've reached financial freedom. Capital gains is a third stream of income that millionaires have. Like I said earlier, it's more on the passive side where you don't really need to do much, than more on the active side where you're earning your income, trading your time for your money. But simply put, capital gains is when something is at a higher value than when you bought it. So if you buy a stock for $10 and then in a few years you sell that stock for $20, you had a capital gain of $10. I just talked about an example of stocks, but this also falls into real estate. Buying property or real estate in itself has multiple streams of income, but capital gains is a single-handedly the best wealth builder in real estate. Because if you think about it, when you're buying a rental property, you're aiming for $200, $300, maybe $600 a month in cash flow. Let's let's just say $600. You're lucky, after all your expenses, you get $600 a month in cash flow. Over 1 year, let's round that to $7,000. But in 2020, and over the course of the couple years of the pandemic, we saw capital gains with appreciation of houses go up so much. So over that 2-year period, if you had a $100,000 house, it's now worth $200,000. And that difference in the price is equity. It does not go towards your mortgage, does not go to the bank. That is money to your name because your house is more valuable than it was. So as you can see, in those 2 years, if you have $600 a month in cash flow, you probably receive $14,000, $15,000 in cash flow, but the capital gains was a $100,000 gain. And that is why capital gains is single-handedly the best wealth creator. And when it comes to real estate, cash flow is just a cherry on top of the appreciation that you're looking for. That's why the number one rule in real estate is location, location, location. Because if you're in a good location with real estate, you're going to get those capital gains, your property is going to appreciate, and you're going to be much, much happier than buying that cash flowing property. Capital gains are usually taxed anywhere between 0 and 20% depending on how much income it is. So if you have a capital gains of $1 million, you're going to get $800,000 to your pocket and $200,000 is going to go to taxes. Of course, you also have other things like state taxes, but I'm just talking on an overall federal level. The next type of income that falls within a passive income is rental income. And this is pretty self-explanatory, but rental income is when, drumroll please, you rent something out. When it comes to rentals, everyone talks about real estate and renting out properties. This is when you buy a house, you rent it out to a tenant, they pay you every single month a certain amount of rent, you pay your mortgage, you get some cash flow, you capture the appreciation, and so on. You can also do this with commercial properties. If you're in a commercialized area, you can buy a commercial building, rent that out to some big franchise or something, and they'll pay you every single month. Sometimes you even get lucky enough to have a triple net deal. And this is basically when you're only responsible for the 4 walls and the roof. This is different from residential rentals where you have to pay for when the water heater goes bad, when the flooring needs replacement, when the driveway needs replacement, and everything else inside of that house. But when it comes to rentals, it's not only rental properties. I've seen people rent out their cars on Turo. I've seen people rent out bouncy houses, chairs, table, party accessories, and so much more. So the list of things that you can rent out is endless. So look around your house. I'm sure there's something somewhere that you can probably rent out. I mean, I know people who rent out their wedding dresses. That is an easy stream of income that you want to get into if you want to become a millionaire. And the next stream of income is something that I already touched up on earlier, and this is dividend income. I have a whole video that goes into a deep dive on dividends, what makes a good dividend, what dividends are, and so on. So I'm not going to go too much in depth here. But what dividends are is when you own a stock, the company pays you part of their profits for owning their stock. Because as an investor, they're using your money and you own some of the company. So in return, they're going to pay you every single quarter, or every single year, or every single half a year, depending on what that company decides. So by holding a stock like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Johnson & Johnson, not only do you get the appreciation of the stock, but you also get dividends every so often. And this is another source of truly passive income. You don't need to do anything other than owning that stock and you're going to get paid for it. And if you're not investing in some stocks with at least some dividends, you better start now. The greatest thing about dividend investing is there's something called DRIP, or when you reinvest your dividends. So if I own Pepsi stock and they pay me $100 every single quarter, I'm just gonna drip or reinvest that back into Pepsi stock. So it's basically like by owning the Pepsi stock, I was able to buy more stocks, and it snowballs and the compound effects takes its place, and then soon enough you're gonna have tens of thousands of dollars in dividend. Income stream number 6 is business income. It's so easy to start so many small businesses nowadays and get the ball rolling on business income because how easy the internet has made it. I mean, you could start a YouTube channel, you could start a graphic design business on things like Fiverr where you're independent freelancer or Upwork or whatever the website may be. And the advantage with business income is it really depends on how much work you're willing to put in. Unlike earned income where you can only put in so much time because you're getting paid by the hour or getting paid on the salary, with business the income that you make is unlimited. If you're willing to put more work, you're likely going to make more money. Of course, it's not guaranteed, but if you're going to put in more work, you're going to have a better business and you're going to get more customers and you're going to get paid more. And I mean, starting a business isn't that hard. Step number 1, what interests you? What business do you want to start? Think of the idea. Step number 2, study what that business requires and improve your skills. Step number 3, market and sell your skills. And step number 4, help people out, provide value, and collect money. And businesses don't need tens of thousands of dollars to start like everyone thinks. I can name a bunch of small businesses that you can start today without any money or little money. You can go with website building, graphic designer, property management, lawn care, power washing, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and so on. You get where I'm going here. Another thing with businesses is it's very tax friendly. So a lot of the time you're going to be able to write things off because the IRS likes when businesses start because it helps grow the economy. When the economy is growing, it helps everyone as a whole. And the last stream of income that many millionaires have is interest income. And you're probably most familiar with interest income from the bank. When you put in your money into your checkings account, you're probably receiving no interest. If you put it into a regular savings account, you're receiving 0.001. If you put in a high yield savings account, you're probably receiving 3 or 4%. Interest income is most prevalent when you're lending out money. But you just said the bank pays me money for storing my money there. Yes, exactly. When you put your money into a savings account, why do you think the bank pays you? Because you're lending them that money so they can turn around, give that to someone else and charge them a higher interest rate. So they're paying you 3% for your money, then they're going ahead and giving that same money to someone else at an 8% interest rate and profiting the difference. So they'll take your $1,000 here, give it to this guy, charge him $80 for that, give you $30 and profit at $50. Yep, that's how banks work. Another way that people make interest income is become a hard money lender. And this is basically when you lend to someone in real estate, like an investor or someone who's building a property. Hard money lenders are people who have a lot of cash sidelined and they want to lend it out, put it to work, and in return someone will pay them an interest rate. These are usually higher interest rates than the bank because they also have different stipulations. They have different qualifications. A lot of rehabbers use hard money lenders to get quick cash, and in return they'll pay you 10, 11% interest. But the goal with hard money lenders and when people use them is they want them on the short term. If you're going to a bank for a mortgage at 6-7% right now, you're going to be taking out that loan for 30 years. But when a rehabber goes to take out a loan, they don't want that 30-year assignment. They want something for a few months or even a year. This is why hard money lenders are so valuable. And then lastly, another way of interest income is US Treasury bonds. And this is basically when you're lending money to the government. If you buy this paper, it's basically an IOU saying that the government will pay you, 3% in 10 years if you give them $100. These are usually the most safe investments that you can make out there because it's basically backed by the government. And if the government fails, then you should be worrying about your treasury bonds. But if the government fails, I don't think you're going to really care about the money you have invested in a treasury bond, because things are going to be much worse. Anyways, interest is basically when you're lending out your money to someone, they'll be paying you back a fee or a certain percentage of the amount that they borrowed over a certain amount of years. Basically like renting out your money. So I guess we can call it rental income. So today we went over the 7 different streams of income that millionaires have. And if you want to become a millionaire, you should be looking at ways to diversify your streams of income. Because in my last video, when I went over the chicken coop example, you don't want to rely on just one stream. It's not a good way to grow your money, and it's not a good way to secure your money. So if you made it this far, make sure to drop a comment below on what streams of income you're working on and how many streams you have today. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll see you guys in the next one.